All right, counting has begun on all 40 seats and the trends have started to emerge. The account has been opened. MNF trend coming in on one seat, MNF leading on one seat. Kaushik, to give us a sense of what is the polity, the people, in terms of the voter pattern where Mizoram is concerned, will you take us through that? The first trend is in and MNF right off right now leading on one seat.
That's why there are 40 constituencies, and you would see that in most of the constituencies, the victory margins are very narrow. Even 500 votes can make a huge difference. If you look at last year's polls also, last time's poll, then the margins were around 1,000, 2,000. That were like the highest margin. In some cases, it goes up to 3,000 to 4,000. But Mizoram always witnesses a very close contest in terms of victory margins. This time...
Like, give me an example, Kaushik. Like, if it's a close contest, so the last time around, so the closest that I've seen is like about a 500 vote, but, a person or a candidate can win from how many votes in a close contest, which is normal in Mizoram?
It could be from 100 to 500 to 3,000, like the Lalul Huma when he went for a re-election. By the way, it has to be mentioned that he is the only politician, I believe he was disqualified from the Lok Sabha on defection charges, and he was disqualified from the assembly also on defection charges. But unfortunately, he didn't defect to another party, or he didn't do any anti-party activity, but because of technicalities, he had to be disqualified. So when he got re-elected, I believe his victory margin was more than 3,000.
3,000. So that's one of the highest victory margins.
Yeah, if someone is very popular, then his victory margins could go up to 3,000.
And 3,000, because just to give you a comparison, is considered
a very narrow margin.
It's a very, very narrow margin when it comes down to the Hindi heartland or even in the states of the south. So one can well imagine, what the political landscape where Mizoram is concerned. Let me also bring in my colleague Anupam, who's joining us in as well with the very latest coming in. Trends emerging, both ZPM and MNF off the bat leading on two constituencies, Anupam. But give us a sense of what ZPM is, Kaushik. And I have been speaking, okay, we don't have Anupam with us anymore, so let's try and connect to Anupam, but Kaushik, come into this. The ZPM, at least right here in Delhi or, when we read about the ZPM, mostly it's a startup like the Aam Aadmi Party, civil society groups, but some of them are also old political parties joining hands together. Will you give us a sense of what is the ZPM?
Exactly. ZPM leader Lalu Huma, he has been in politics, as I said, since 1984. He has been in different forms, first in Congress, then he was, for a very little time, he was in MNF, then he shifted to his own party, JDNP, and then he formed this coalition in 2018, where several parties, several political leaders, veteran political leaders, they came together and formed this new alliance, which is now a political party and is expected to win this time. This political party, interestingly, they always talk about change, building a new system in Mizoram. As you witness in Mizoram, for last 2 decades, it has been oscillating between either MNF or Congress. So people have given them enough chances. So, but Lalu Huma's party, it was ironically seen always as a urban party where they talk about change. It used to appeal to the youth, but it couldn't penetrate the rural sector. What has changed now is that the penetration of internet, 4G coming there. So its messages, its narrative, it's reaching the remote corners also, and that's why the party is gaining ground. It started off with 8 seats last time, though it didn't.
But one thing is sure, Kaushik, there was anti-incumbency where Mizoram was concerned. Also, we was once again getting you up to speed of the 40 seats where counting has begun. Trends have emerged on two, and both MNF, the incumbent, and ZPM, which at least our exit poll predicts to sweep the state of Mizoram, are leading on 1 seat each. But Kaushik, getting you back as we try and connect back to my colleague Anupam, who's joining us from as well. Where you're talking about Mizoram, where you're talking about the ZPM, there was anti-incumbency where the state was concerned. How is it that, a Congress, which we spoke of earlier on, couldn't actually, tap into that kind of anti-incumbency? The Congress right here, in Delhi, very vocal on what went down in Manipur. You had the MNF also, which somewhere down the line distanced itself, even though it was a part of the NDA alliance, and distanced itself from the BJP. They didn't want the Prime Minister to come to Mizoram to campaign, and that's interesting because, who wouldn't want the Prime Minister to come? Because especially with what went down in Manipur, the Prime Minister didn't go there, so the MNF very clear that you cannot come to Mizoram as well. So in all of that, this was an election that the Congress could have easily tapped into that kind of anti-incumbency and hoping for a resurrection where the Northeast is concerned. Missed cause?
If I have to talk about Mizoram particularly, there are two factors. One is the leadership issue. After the former Chief Minister, he took retirement from politics, the Congress is suffering from a leadership crisis. Lalthan Haula, he retired after 2018 elections, and he lost to Lalul Homa in that election also. That is leadership crisis at Mizoram, the regional leadership, not the national leadership. Second problem is, let me give you an analogy. The Congress in the mainstream states, they talked about caste census. It was a very attractive idea.
Right.
But there are no buyers. It didn't work in mainstream because despite the Congress promising a caste census and also rejigging the reservation process accordingly, nobody actually probably trusted in Congress because in the past it has a legacy of non-performance. So despite anti-incumbency against MNF, ruling MNF, people are still not ready to give Congress another chance. They are not believing that Congress would be any different from MNF because MNF came against Congress anti-incumbency. Now they probably would be looking for a change in the form of ZPM, or maybe they would stick to MNF. But the fight is between MNF and ZPM. That's crystal clear.
Well, that is crystal clear, and it's a missed opportunity for the Congress, hoping to at least, get back into the Northeast where the Mizoram election was concerned, was at least hoping to be kingmaker, at least for now. With what we have been given to understand by the numbers of our exit polls, that's not going to happen. The ZPM is poised to sweep the state of Mizoram. But these visuals that you're getting in, the politics of Mizoram so very different, and coming in from yesterday and sitting in today, where counting is concerned, it's completely different, viewers. What we are seeing right now is like a community setup where people have gathered waiting for the results to pour in. They didn't want to come in on a Sunday. They wanted to relax, go to the church. Who comes to work on a Sunday?
You're grudging that, Preeti.
No, I'm not grudging it. I'm actually, I'm in awe. I'm admiring it, that a state could tell the EC that not on Sunday, we'll count Monday, let the other 4 states go on Sunday. But having said that, so it's a small, tight community, mostly Christian majority state where Mizoram is concerned. The politics are derived from the church as well to a large extent. Counting on today, what we are seeing right now, trends emerging of the 40 on 3, on 4 seats, the ZPM leading on 3, the MNF on 1. And one thing I will tell you again, viewers, it's very different on how counting went yesterday. Where the state of Mizoram is concerned, once trends start emerging, they're going to start firming up pretty soon, because some of the constituencies are as small as 3,000 or 4,000. And, it's very quick once the EVMs open that the trends start firming up. So for now, the ZPM is leading on 3 seats of the 40, the incumbent MNF on 1.